Good. All right, we'll start with standing decompression. So let's go facing this way. Feet hip width apart. Yeah, remember the outer edges of the feet parallel to each other, maybe a little pitch and toe, and then find that alignment on the ankles. Okay. Knees slightly bent, but straight. Yeah, so unlocking the knees. Good. Measuring sticks, thumbs at the base of the rib cage, pinky at the top of the hip. Long line from the pubic bone all the way to the sternum, and then that same line on the back. Tailbone to crown of the head, and keep thinking a little bit higher, a little bit higher. So crown of the head up away from the floor, and then imagine if this was the floor here, you're pulling your head away from the floor. So pull your head away from my hand. More. Engage the back neck muscles, and then we're squeezing the shoulder blades towards each other. So the shoulder blades are coming in. So we're stretching the pecs, but then the elbows are reaching wide, right? It's a tug of war. So squeezing the shoulder blades towards each other, elbows reaching wide, and then the breath is gonna be back, front, side. It's almost like you're breathing underneath your armpits, and the hips go up and away from the hips. So think of this whole waistband getting longer, and that's where the thumb and the pinky, right, come into place. Every inhale, thumb and pinky moving away from each other. On the exhale, stay high. Pull the belly in. Big breath in, and keep working your head up and back away from wherever you're looking at. Yeah, nice space on the pecs. Just open up to long wing. So open the palm big, spread the palms, spread the fingers, straight elbows. We're gonna do some screwdrivers. So inhale, externally rotate, exhale, internally rotate. Inhale, open. Yeah, and the whole time, exhale, close. The whole time the shoulder blades are going towards each other. Inhale, open, and we're moving from the humerus. Exhale, close. So we move open, all the way to the fingers. Exhale, close. One more of those. Good. And then from here, we're gonna go inhale, open. Exhale, hands towards the hips. And then inhale, arms float up in front of you, back, stretching that pec to thumb line, external rotation, and then exhale, forward and down. So this one is for the pec, for the shoulders. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. One more. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. And release the hands. Good. Let's go right foot forward, left foot back. We're gonna do the lunge decompression. So feet about hip width apart, walking stride maybe a little bit longer, yeah, and make sure two things. So make sure that the outer edges are parallel like railroad tracks, and make sure that big toe stays firm into the floor, ankles are straight, knees are slightly bent, so don't lock the front or the back knee. Measuring sticks, big breath, and go up, looking straight forward. All right, so we're stretching the front hip. Right. Shoulder blades towards each other, shoulders back and down, elbows wide. Okay, let's engage the anchor here. So the right foot is like a claw, and you're trying to drag that back, feel that into the hamstring. Make sure that that's unlocked the knee. Left foot, back foot, right, pushing forward, engaging the hip flexor. Shoulders way back, keep pulling the head back away from that imaginary floor in front of you. Big breath here. Get a little bit taller, press the floor with the feet. Keep that big toe on the ground, press it in. Yeah, don't let that ankle bow out, right? Keep it straight. One more big breath. Get really tall, get really wide. And then switch sides. Left foot forward, right foot back. Good, get really tall, look straight forward. Just make sure you got solid base on your feet, ankles are straight, outer edges are parallel. All right, good. Stretching that front right hip. Get really tall, always getting a little bit higher. It's like the crown of the head reaching for the ceiling, and then the entire head reaching away from that imaginary wall. So you're reaching back and up. Good. Take breath. Left foot now like a claw, pulling back, right foot pulling forward. Keep decompressing, maybe tuck the tailbone down a little bit, right? And always, you know, checking that alignment of the hips. So neither hip forward or higher than the other. Okay, big breath here. Make sure the shoulders stay nice and open. So stretch the pecs, engage the rhomboids, pull the head back. One more breath right here. And then step forward. Shake that off for a sec. Okay, and let's go a little bit wider. So now we're gonna get into the hinge and we're gonna get into the anchors. Inner anchor, outer anchor, right? So heels wider than the toes, just a little pitch and toe, right? But make sure the knees are not collapsing in, right? So pressure on the big toe, pressure on the little toe, pressure on the heel, measuring sticks, big breath, get really tall, same as before, really tall, really wide, decompress, tuck the chin a little bit in, tuck the tailbone down, big breath, pull the head away, right? Okay, let's go inner anchor. So legs are pushing towards each other. You can think of that X. Don't let the knees cave in. Think of tons and tons of springs, right? Between your legs and you're squeezing them together. It's like a bear hug with your legs. Big breaths here. And as you're doing that, the hips are being pulled down. Big breath, big breath. Nice. Okay, let's do outer anchor. So legs now pushing away from each other and the tension goes from the inner thighs to the outer thighs. Now when you do this here and you're pushing the legs away from each other, right, as if you had springs against the walls, don't bow your ankle out. So the ankle stays straight but the legs are pushing, right? And you can think like if somebody was coming here and pressing the legs towards each other, you're fighting that and pushing them away. Big breath, looking straight forward. Okay, now that you're on the outer anchor, pull the hips back. So reach for the wall behind you. Now, don't lead with the chest, lead with your hips. So hips back, chest stays high. Hips back, chest stays high. Good. Can you imagine like there's a wall here and you can't go any forward, but your hips are still reaching back? And try to find the hamstring stretch here. Good, big breath. Good, shoulders back and down away from the ears. Good. Let's go into long wing. Good. Let's do a few screwdrivers here. Inhale, open, external rotation. Exhale, close, internal rotation. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Inhale, open. Tuck the chin and lengthen the back of the neck. So no tension on the back of the neck. Nice space, but you're still pulling your head back. Yeah, perfect. Good. One more. Inhale, open. Good. And then as you exhale, step, or I guess just hinge back up. Good. And shake it off and let's go right foot forward, left foot back. Awesome. So find your parallel feet, unlock knees. Let's go a little bit farther back on this one. So take your foot and just everybody go a foot farther back. A little bit more challenging. And remember, still 50-50, front and back foot. Upright with the torso. So we're going up, 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 up. Measuring sticks. Shoulders back, elbows wide. Okay, so on this one we're gonna check, right? Usually the front leg hip is gonna try to go back. And remember, when you adjust the hips, make sure the torso is still pointing straight forward. So you can use those headlights. Check the hips are good, and then as soon as you got that, maybe go back either measuring sticks or long wing, your call. Big breath, keep pulling the head back, 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 away from my hand. More. Good. Okay, now from here, keep those hips even and hinge the hips back. So the hips go back, the chest stays high. Good. Hold it right there. And make sure you're going straight forward, not to the side, right? Good. And then again, check the right hip back a little bit. Lengthen, right? Remember that decompression breath. So length around the waistband. And try to find that tension. Good. Shoulders back. Good. Big breath here. Good, and then take one more big breath in. As you exhale, step forward. Good. Now, switch sides. Take that right foot, step a little bit farther back than you would otherwise. Very important to make sure that left knee, right front knee never locking, okay? So always keep it slightly locked. 50-50, go straight up. Good. Head back away from whatever you're looking at. Measuring sticks. Or long wing, either way. big breaths. Good, and remember, tucking the tailbone, pinning the front ribs down, but still lifting the sternum up, head back and away. Good, nice, great. Big breath here. And when you're ready, without the right hip going back more than the left, in fact, maybe tuck the left hip back a little bit more, and then reset the torso, and then both hips go back at the same time. Hips reach back. It's not so much that the chest is going forward, so lift the chest up, but pull your hips back. So think of your hips going back without your chest touching my hand. Yeah, good. And you see what happens there, right? That hip tries to kind of like skip back, so then left hip. Yeah, and now you got that nice engagement.
Yeah.
Tuck the chin in, big breath, and then obviously making sure this knee doesn't lock. Hey, cool. Big breath, big breath. One more. And then step forward. All right, one more thing standing, and then we'll go on the floor. So let's go wide with the feet again. At least wider than hip width apart. Heels wider than the toes. Measuring sticks, big breath, decompress first. So just think, just decompression breathing. Big breath, big breath. Okay, do a little inner anchor just enough that you feel those inner thighs engage and you know, okay, I'm doing the inner squeeze, the legs are going towards each other, the inner thighs are engaging. It's pulling my hips down, I'm decompressing up and away. Good, head back a little bit more. Good, and now go outer anchor. So spreading the floor, keep the big toe on the floor. Don't bow the ankles out. Okay, we're gonna do some integrated hinges. So inhale, hinge your hips back. Chest stays high, reach for the wall behind you. Back of the neck stays long, so relax your gaze. And then hinge the hips forward. Now, when you go back like 80 or 90%. Find the hamstrings, hinge the hips back. More hips than chest coming forward. Good. And when you hinge forward, come back, but come about like halfway to 80% back. So you keep a little bit of a hinge. Hinge back more. Hamstring, glutes, hinge forward. Not all the way, just a little bit. Hinge the hips back. And try to keep, every time that you hinge, keep reaching for the wall behind you. Come forward, not all the way. Keep the back of the neck long as you're hinging, so soft gaze. And keep the outer anchor without bowing the ankles. So bring the ankle back into position, big toe pressing. One more time. Inhale, hinge the hips back. Exhale, hinge the hips forward. Stand up, shake that off. Cool. All right. And then we'll go on the floor face down and we'll wrap things up with a back extension in Childpose. Okay, so toes together, knees together, zip up the legs. So toes and knees squeeze, ankle flex. And when you flex the ankle, you really flex it. You don't want to get your shin muscles burning a little bit there. So knee squeeze, toe squeeze, internal rotation, so the thighs are rolling in, right? Back of the neck long, forehead on the ground. Big breath here. When you're ready, just the head lifted up off the ground and feel how that engages low back, mid back, upper back. Maybe lift the head a little bit higher. Don't add any weight on the hands, just the head lifting up. Yeah, and you're gonna feel that connection. Calf, hamstrings, glutes, low back, mid back, all the way. When you're ready, hands and elbows off the ground. Good. And think of straight wrist. So we're not flexing the wrist whatsoever. Open the palm big, spread the fingers wide, pin the shoulder blades towards each other. And think of your elbows a little bit higher, but the wrist also higher. There you go. Big breath here. Can you lift your head up more without flexing the neck? So keep the back of the neck long. Yeah, and think about that. Think about that feeling of getting the whole paraspinal line engaging here. Good. Knees stay on the ground. One more big breath. Exhale slowly, lower down. Open the knees wide, Childpose. So sinking the hips to the heels. And here all we're doing is letting the hips relax. Try to bring your breath into your low back so that every time that you breathe, your low back expands, right? It's a counter pose, but then relax your torso, relax your head. elbows, hands, relax. Breathe. All right. Let's do one more back extension. So belly on the floor again. Toes together, knees together, internal rotation, heels wider than the toes, flex the ankle and then flex it a little harder. And really feel that nagging sensation of the shin muscles engaging. Knees stay on the ground, so push the knees into the ground, push the hips into the ground, forehead on the floor, and then lift the head up. So you're looking straight down at the point where your nose was touching the floor. Don't let the neck flex, keep it nice and long. So keep thinking of tucking the chin in, not so much that you're closing the throat, but enough that you're lengthening the back of the neck. When you're ready, hands and elbows off the ground. Squeeze the shoulder blades towards each other. Big breaths here. And remember, it's not so much a helicopter taking off, it's more like a jet plane. So you're going up, yes, you're peeling the chest off the ground, yes, you're lifting the head off the ground, but then you're still reaching the crown of the head straight away, right, from the hips. Base of the skull away from the tailbone. And keep finding that connection between all those 33 vertebrae, all the little muscles in between each vertebrae, all the lines of different paraspinal muscles. One more big breath in. Exhale, slowly lower down. Let's go back to Childpose. And we'll do a few breaths on our regular straight facing Childpose. Hips are on the floor, keep your torso low, keep your head low. We're gonna do a side stretch here. So right arm opens to the right side, torso follows, left hand follows. So now the stretch is on the left side. Try to sink the hips down. Think of that left sit bone sinking into the heel. And here we're mostly just relaxing, breathing, counterposing, right? All those standing poses that we did, and the back extension is very heavy on engaging the posterior chain. So on this one, we're releasing it, letting the body be heavy, and breathing into the stretch on this left side here. And then back to center, left arm, torso follows, hand follows, and then we open to the left side. Left arm, torso, and hand. Keep the hips low. Yeah, and just scan your body. Notice where else can you relax as you bring the breath to the right side. Just a couple more breaths here. Back to center. Just take a breath or two, resetting the spine. Nice. Good job. When you're ready, come up.